A very good morning and welcome to our Tuesday program on the Mid-Morning Park, the Legal Tuesday, whereby we look at the issues of legal matters. And every Tuesday, we give you a very heavy perspective on various matters regarding to legal issues. Today, we are here with my colleague Mangi Chomola. We shall be looking at the consumer rights. Together with us, also, we have a guest in the studio. We have the Advocate of High Court, Mr. Wilfred Konosi, who is going to help us to be able to put more light on this matter today. And our question is, have you ever been sold a counterfeit good anywhere? Have you ever been sold a counterfeit good anywhere? Ushaiuziwa bidhaa ambayo ni gushi, ambayo si nzuri mahali popote pale. Kwa hivyo karibu sana katika kipindi cha siku ya leo, ambapo tunaangalia mambo ya haki za wewe mnunuzi tu. Kama basi wewe unanunua bidhaa hapa na pale, mambo kama hayo. Leo tuko hapa kwa sababu yako kuweza kufahamisha kuhusu haki zako kama mnunuzi wa bidhaa ndogo au kubwa. Nambari yetu ya SMS 23414 23814 ndio nambari yetu ya SMS. Vile vile nambari yetu ya WhatsApp 0721 105 and 105. Mangicho Mora, karibu sana hapa kwetu.
Asante sana mwenzangu Paul Kagi, vyema kabisa kuweza kukuona. And of course, like you've rightly put it, it's another edition of the Legal Tuesday where we look at legal matters. And we know that legal issues are very, very pertinent, very critical, of course, in our society. And in one way or another, each and every one of us will be affected. So it is important that you be enlightened on some of these issues that pertains to legal or the legal world. And of course, like my colleague has already said, today we want to look at this particular subject on consumer protection laws. Consumer protection laws. And of course, we are all involved when it comes to this particular issue, because in one way or another, you get into a place, you get into a shop, you get into a supermarket, or you actually get maybe even into the market, whereby you in one way or another interact with the people, interact with the traders, interact with the sellers. Maybe you buy a commodity. So today we want to look at what are some of the laws that of course affect you as a consumer. What are some of the rights that you need to know affect you as a consumer, even when you are purchasing these particular products or this particular. And Kagi, of course, this is an area that is very important. I know for a very long time we've had so many Kenyans who have actually been affected in as much as being sold counterfeit goods, substandard goods, even others poisonous. And today we are here to set everything straight in regards to this subject.
Kwa hivyo mpenzi mtazamaji, ka standby, tuko na mambo mengi ambayo tumekuandalia siku ya leo ndio uweze kujua haki zako kama mnunuzi ni zipi. Lakini sio kama bado tuna drama iko standby wa director, alafu ndio tuendelee kutoka hapo, alafu ndio pia utuambie mpenzi mtazamaji, ushawahi nunua bidhaa gushi ukauziwa mahali popote pale, na kama uliuziwa labda unaweza kutuambia uliuziwa kitu gani, ndio tuweze kuzungumzia mambo haya kwa undani kabisa. Tuambie kupitia nambari yetu ya SMS ambayo ni 23814 23814, alafu vile vile WhatsApp 0721105105. Kwa hivyo wakati huu basi nataka basi nimkaribishe mgeni wetu katika studio. Si mgeni sana, lakini ni wakili Wilfred Konosi. Karibu sana katika kipindi. Hujambo?
Sijambo.
Habari ya wiki?
Ni njema.
Naendelea vizuri?
Nimeendelea vizuri.
Karibu sana katika kipindi cha siku ya leo. And I know maybe in one time or another you have handled several cases regarding to the consumer protection laws. Maybe to begin with, when you're talking about the consumer protection laws, exactly what are you talking about?
These are rights which every Kenyan is entitled to, and they are in respect to goods and services which of course we enjoy in different fora. And at this point I think I need to mention that consumer rights is one of the fundamental rights under the Bill of Rights. It's provided for under Article number 46 of the Constitution. So it's among the Bill of Rights which every Kenyan is entitled to.
Okay, and maybe exactly what are you talking about and talk about those protections? What are they? in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, you should get a value for your money. If you go to a lawyer, you are entitled to proper services. If you go to buy goods in a supermarket, you should get goods of quality, not substandard goods. That is why we have bodies like the Kenya Bureau of Standards, which ensures that any product which gets to the market passes the standard which is required. And then, of course, we have issues like misrepresentation. Like somebody will tell you, okay, this cooking oil is better than the other, so that they induce you to buy it. That is actually an offense. Or in other instances, you might be told that we are selling you this particular product at a reduced price, only to get into that supermarket and find out that they'll tell you, okay, the offer is complete. Now we are selling it on a higher price. That is not right under the consumer protection rights.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before we continue with my colleague Mangicho, I think we can now look at a short skit regarding to the consumer rights.
Sasa hii ni nini hii? Angalia. Hii ni nini hii? Hii ni unga gani? Guys, sasa what ni nini hii sasa? Hebu angalia vile hii unga ni chafu.
Na umenunua wapi?
Si nimenunua tu hapa nje kwa mama boy. Sasa tutafanya nini?
Sirudishe, umwambie kupatia unga na kile na wageni wa karibu kufika.
Atakubali na vile huyu mama ni kisirani.
Hui aya. Hey, afadhali tu nipeleke. Sasa tutafanya nini? Ama basi tupike.
Lakini badala ya kubishana na yeye, acha tutupike hizi, tutazikatanisha mara 4. Tuwagawanishe hivyo watosheke hivyo.
Asante.
Lakini haki ni hasara. Hii ni hasara kabisa. Sasa mtu afanye nini?
Hiyo ni hasara kubwa sana. Na vile unga sasa iko
Right, welcome back. Kama mnaona hiyo jikoni.
Yes. Jikoni pale mambo ilikuwa imechemuka.
Hata bila kuangalia nini aina ya unga ambayo iko pale.
Yes.
Umeangalia vile jikoni yenyewe inakaa. Sometimes tuna kiuka haki za hata mnunuzi mulaji chapo kwa sababu mali unapikia chakula pia. I think it can also take you to court.
Yes. Will that all fall into under environmental laws?
That's why I think it is not allowed for you to be able to enter into a hotel kitchen.
Yes.
There's a lot to be told.
They normally say out of bounds.
Yes.
There is a lot to see.
What is the take on that, Wakili?
Yeah, and actually even Wakili, as you mentioned about that, because one of the things that maybe like you've said, every Kenyan is entitled to quality, substandard goods. Even as you comment about that particular clip, one of the things that maybe will actually make a lot of people to answer, how is it possible that such commodity, such goods were able to find themselves even in places of selling?
Number one, let me comment on the states of the kitchen. We have health laws which govern the standard of cleanliness in any place which is selling or offering food to the public. So that is actually the Department of Health to ensure that the kitchen, the utensils, there's proper sanitation, there is running water, and the workers are in a clean and healthy environment. I can't really say that that goes into consumer rights. Okay. But with regard to the quality of the unga which we have seen there, of course we have enforcement, we have laws and we have enforcement mechanisms to ensure that counterfeit goods do not get into the market.
Yes.
But somehow these goods find themselves into the market. That is why you find like the inspectors from the Kenya Bureau of Standards visiting places. They will confiscate whatever is found to be counterfeit. They'll take it to their labs, test it, and then get a report. So if you are found to be selling counterfeit goods, of course, you will face the full force of the law.
And okay, like you've put it, because from what we've seen, the people there, the ones that were now going maybe to use that particular commodity, it's like it has gotten them by surprise. They are shocked. How comes we've been sold an item that is of substandard, an item that is contrary maybe to the standard that are supposed to be there? Now, when it comes to maybe even the right of information of any Kenyan to be in a position to know the kind of commodity that they are supposed to be sold, the kind of commodity that they are supposed actually to get, how comes, what does the law say in terms of you knowing what is it that you are going to actually buy?
All right. If you look at any product which we buy, it has actually some information on it. The manufacturer, the contents. If it is unga, they'll tell you it contains these ingredients, and it is supposed to conform to the description which is on the item itself when you're buying it. But as you've seen, like the unga which we saw here, what is inside is not what might have been described in the packet itself.
Yes. So what was maybe in the packet? So does it mean for a commodity like this, does it mean that maybe it didn't pass through the hands or through the eyes of the Kenya Bureau of Standards?
Let me explain that. You take a sample to the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and you say, this is what I am going to produce. Some of those goods do not have to pass through the Kenya Bureau of Standards every time you produce them. But once you've been given a certificate that your goods are of this quality, you are expected to produce goods of that quality. If you produce goods which are of less quality, then you are committing an offense. Yeah.
I think, again, before I look at that, back again to that unga, I'm really feeling for that lady. Now that you have bought that unga maybe from a shop or supermarket, and you want to make your chapatis, but you be shocked because of what is inside. How is that lady going to maybe complain regarding to the substandard of that unga? How? Procedure?
The procedure is that we have officers of the Kenya Bureau of Standards. Number one, you can actually take that unga the way it is and say, I bought this unga from this shop, I opened it, and this is what I found. And if you suspect that the other packets contain are substandard, you can actually go now and buy one which has not been opened, which will then be tested by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, and they'll come up with a report. If it is found to be substandard, then they'll take action against the manufacturer or the producer of that particular product.
Yes, Mangicho, I think there's another issue here again. Yes. For example, you have produced a good product, very correct. It is in the shops, and consumers are getting the right product. But there's someone who wants to make more money by reproducing what you make by what they call the counterfeit goods.
Yes.
And they label exactly what you have is what they have. I don't know how this can be managed, and these counterfeit guys can be able to fix you because your product or what they're selling has everything that you have. So it is very hard for you to compare theirs and yours. How can that be solved?
That's a very big challenge. I'll give you an example of what do we call them? Samsung chargers. You've seen them. We have the original and we have the fake ones. Yeah, so sometimes it is very, very, very difficult for you to tell which one is genuine, which one is counterfeit. And that is a very, very big problem in Kenya. You've seen some instances where the government reports that we have destroyed so many tons of batteries,
Yes.
which are substandard, so many goods which are substandard. Some of those goods are actually imported from outside, and somehow they find their way into the Kenyan market. So it is sometimes very, very difficult to control the supply of counterfeit goods, where as a producer, I am selling a genuine product, but somebody out there imitates my product exactly looking like my product, and then you offer it to the public. Maybe to avoid those kinds of problems, wholesalers, you should make sure you know the source of the goods which you are buying, which you are going to offer to the public. Yeah.
Kagi, actually, that is a very important point. Yeah, because like Wakili has also put it, today we have varieties, and actually one is spoiled for choice because you get into a shop, you get into a place, you get into a warehouse, and there is quite a variety. So one particular item will come in different shapes. You'll find this particular model, this other model, and this other model. Now, when you talk about the safeguards, Wakili, how do you envisage the law in terms of actually ensuring that there is enough safeguard that has been put, or maybe there is more that needs to be done in terms of maybe the guarantee sometimes that maybe one is given, and maybe some other measures that can actually even help? Because when it comes now to the average Kenyan, and most of them maybe are just layman, what we can call actually the layman, they might be they might actually be suffering from lack of information, or maybe ignorance as to maybe what is the most important and what is the most quality product to have.
We actually have laws in place regarding the quality of the goods which we buy. And like I mentioned earlier, we have this problem of goods somehow finding themselves into the market. You've seen like brands of clothing, say Gucci. Yeah, we have the original and the counterfeit.
Yes.
So what again most manufacturers have done is that you get the counterfeit and you get the original, and identify. You can tell, you know.
Yes.
Ours has 1, 2, 3, 4. Counterfeit has 1, 2, 3, 4. You've seen some people put even adverts on paper. If you get these two, look at them closely. This is fake, this is genuine. Yeah. So those are some of the ways to avoid counterfeit goods.
Yeah. Nafikiri Mangicho, ni vizuri wasikilizaji, watazamaji waweze kujua sheria na haki zao za kuweza kupata bidhaa. Imenikumbusha wakati moja nilikuwa nimeenda kununua simu. Ni kama sikuwa nimeanza kuelewa mambo ya simu sana. Kwanza hizi za kisasa.
Yeah.
Na nikanunua simu na nikafurahi sana, ilikuwa yangu ya kwanza ya touch. Na nikaenda nayo nyumbani kama nangojea familia niwaambie leo niko na simu mpya. Kufika hapo nikaichukua sasa nianze kujifunza kufanya nini? Kutumia. Kwenda kuguza screen nikashindwa kwa sababu screen ilikuwa ngumu sana. Kuna kalamu kalikuwa pale nikatoa, nikaanza kukatumia kuscroll. Bado kwa hivyo kutype message was a heavy task for me. Nikaona hii kazi bwana, nitakuwa nikitype message hivi ama kuangalia kitu. It became very difficult to operate that phone. Na nikajua mimi nafikiri nishauziwa counterfeit phone. Sasa nikashindwa aje, how do I get back my money?
Yes.
Na nikaenda kwa hiyo duka, sasa niko na receipt. Nikamwambia hii simu yenu si nzuri. Kwa hii na hii na hii. Tafadhali mnibadilishie simu ama mnirudishie nini? Fedha. Na nikasema I'm going to pursue this matter to the end. So nikaenda nikafanya number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, wakakataa kabisa. Sijui zinatoka abroad, ngojea zinatoka abroad, hazijafika kwa meli. So nikakuwa impatient na decide let me try with the Kenya Bureau of Standards. So nikaenda kwa website and type, nikapata website yao, kuna complain hapo, type complain yangu just kujaribu tu. Na after 2 weeks message ndio hii: we have received your complaint, we are working on it. After another 2 weeks, kindly bring all the commodity to our office our regional office and the receipt. Nikawapelekea kwa ofisi. Kukaa kidogo after 1 month, nikapigiwa simu, kindly come to our office to get back your money. Utaona sasa, nikaenda kwa ofisi nikapata ule ambaye aliniuzia simu wako hapo, na maafisa wa KEBS wako hapo, na nikapewa pesa zangu, na yeye akapewa simu. Mimi sijui vile alipelekwa, lakini kwangu kama consumer I think nilishughulikiwa vizuri. So I think ni vizuri pia tujue kwamba ukijua jinsi ya kufuatilia hizi haki zako, inawezekana. Hapo nafikiri ndio tupo sasa.
How costly is that particular process, by the way, if you can actually go back and find out how much did it cost you
to
go through that process?
Maybe time.
Only time.
2 months.
Yes.
In terms of cost or money, it was zero. It was zero. So I think people should know these things are there to help us. Usiogope. Shida ni utaki kuchukua muda wako kwenda kufanya nini? Kulalamika. Lakini ukichukua muda wako na uwe na kile kinahitajika. Tena kama vile wakili amesema, kama unapata unga counterfeit, unajua kudhibitisha kama ni wa hiyo kampuni ni ngumu. Unaweza kwenda kwa duka tena, uchukue ule unga ambao wako nao pale, utumia wako na huu mwingine kupeleka malalamishi. Kwa hivyo lazima pia uelewe utatumia njia gani ndio uweze kusaidika.
You're very right.
I totally agree.
I totally agree. And maybe even as you comment about that, the responsibility of the consumer themselves, and the role that they are supposed to play, even when now maybe they are confronted with some of these challenges, when maybe they are actually accessing and maybe even buying some of these commodities.
I think we have a problem because not all consumers know the right quality of the goods which they are buying, like unga. Yeah, you cannot say unga maybe if it's white, it's fine. So as a consumer, you need to be educated and know what quality are you looking for, so that if what you've bought is substandard, then you can complain. So number one, you must know the quality of the good which you are purchasing. And even if you do not know and you doubt that what you've bought is not the correct quality, like Paul has said, you can actually take it to Kenya Bureau of Standards. They will test it. If it's the right quality, they'll tell you, no, you are wrong. This product is the right quality. So again, our consumers, wananchi, the Wanjiku, need to understand that they have a right to get quality goods, and there's a place where they can complain if they think that the product is not the quality which it is supposed to be.
And maybe just before Kagi, you can come back again in line with this. Wakili, how do you look at the scenario whereby most of these consumers also find themselves being victims, maybe as a result of what advertisement has also been done in relation maybe to this particular product, only for them now to realize that even though during the advertisement that was done and how maybe this particular product or this particular service was actually announced and be made to be seen that it was of high quality, that it was quite, or it was of major significance, only for them now, when they've already gotten it, they find it is the other way around. Now, how can they be protected against the power and the great impact of advertisement as a consumer?
I have a document here called Consumer Protection Guidelines in Kenya. It's a document which you can get from the internet. And it actually deals with some of the issues which you have raised. Like, let me read you an example here. An importer sells motorcycle helmets that do not meet a mandatory safety standard, but have with labels indicating that they meet the safety standard. Yeah? Another example is a manufacturer sold socks which were not pure cotton, but were labeled as pure cotton.
Yes.
Yeah? A claim that bread is made from wholemeal, while it is not.
Yes.
Yeah. bread indicating that it is 500 grams, yet it is
300.
300 or 350, or 400 grams.
Yes.
So it's actually a mistake to give false or misleading information relating to the quality of the product. So that goes again to the advertisement. You should make sure that if you are advertising, make sure what you state in your advertisement is what is contained in the goods which you are going to offer to the public. So that if you get this document, it has very, very many examples of misleading and misrepresentations.
So can the consumer in this particular case have a right to sue the advertiser?
Yes, you have
if they found out that whatever they advertised is substandard, contrary maybe to what they
Yes, you have a right. You can sue. You can sue. That is why this document is very, 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 very important. I wish every Kenyan would get this one and just scan through it.
But I think also Mkenya kuna haki ya kuweza kulindwa na serikali. Kwa sababu bidhaa nyingi ziko kule madukani, kwenye supermarkets, kwenye masoko zimejaa. Na nimekumbuka enzi za hapo nyuma kidogo nilikuwa ninapata maafisa wa I think KEBS kama sijakosea walikuwa wanatembea katika maduka na walikuwa naangalia ile kilo ya sukari. Najua kulikuwa zamani kuna watu ambao walikuwa na ukora. Vile unasema ukinunua sukari ya kilo moja si moja. Kuna venye wana adjust your machine. Nakumbuka tulikuwa tunauza mahindi wakati tumevuna. Sasa kuna vile wanadjust kama ni 90 kilograms of maize. If you're not careful, ni 80. Unajua wewe ukikula mashambani una habari, si ndio? So nilikuwa naona maafisa hawa wa KEBS wanakuja ghafla na magari kwa maduka. Wanaingia kwa duka yako naambia tupatie kilo. Wanachukua, wanaifunguanisha yote mpaka ndani. Watu walikuwa wanashikwa sana. Kwa sababu kuna wale ambao wana adjust. So nafikiri pia serikali kupitia agent zake kama KEBS na zile zingine wako na kazi kubwa. Afadhali waongeze their field officers to be able to follow up on people who are selling counterfeit goods to the public. Like yesterday, I heard the government has already started a process of looking for counterfeit seeds. Ndio inaelekea mambo ya upanzi. Kwa hivyo wamejua kwamba kuna mbegu nyingi zinauziwa wananchi wakulima ambazo ni mbaya kwa sababu ukulima si ndio sasa watu wanafanya. So they want to go on the ground to check whether you are selling the right seeds to farmers. So we need some field officers to follow up on this matter.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Kagi. And actually, even as you said, I think even today, people, you know, Kenyans, just by virtue of also maybe just wanting to make what, you know, there is that language, quick kill. Okay, so that particular urge, okay, just to see what is it that I can do in a very short way, and maybe just to make sure that I get something very quickly. I think that is actually what maybe makes them to actually come up with that kind of a decision.
All right, tuulize swali mpenzi mtazamaji, sijui kama wewe ushaiuziwa bidhaa yote ambao ni gushi na ni gani? Tuambie kupitia 23814. Have you ever been sold a counterfeit good anywhere? Tell us. 23814 is our SMS number, okay? And then on 0721105105, tell us, have you ever been sold a counterfeit good anywhere? Pia tuko live on our FB account and YouTube, MBCI TV official. Today we're talking about the consumer rights on MBCI TV Mid-Morning Pack, the Legal Tuesday. Yes, our question is, have you ever been sold a counterfeit good anywhere? Tell us. Na kama itawezekana, tell us which one. 23814, our SMS number. WhatsApp 0721105105 and 105. Yes, we're taking a short break, but before then, maybe go to the streets.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Don't be afraid to move. sounds of praise and jubilation fill the air as anointed ministers of God come together from across the continent through Healing Center Ministries International for a breakthrough experience like no other. Featuring Prophet Samuel Addison from Ghana, renowned gospel minister Moses Bliss, and Apostle Paul Odola from Nigeria, award-winning gospel singer Michael Mahendere, and Apostle Crispin Mahoro from Zimbabwe, and our very own Evelyn Wanjiru and Pastor Tumaini from Kenya. From 1st November 2023 or through till 4th November at Kasarani Indoor Arena. For more information, call 0722 135 431 or 0753 604 531. Let's converge and receive from the Lord. Do not miss out.
Liza School Naivasha is a world-class educational institution that provides students with knowledge and skills they need to succeed in the 21st century. Liza, a mixed day and boarding institution, has been a beacon of academic excellence for over 2 decades. Our CBC-compliant campus offers education from kindergarten level to grade 8 and fosters academic excellence through our dedicated faculty. We nurture holistic individuals through our wide range of clubs and sports activities where learners develop social skills. Our modern fleet of buses, chauffeured by well-trained drivers, ensure timely transportation of our learners to and from school for both day and boarding school. Partner with us for a guaranteed wholesome school experience for your child. Visit our website today to learn more about Liza School Naivasha. Interview date Saturday, 11th November 2023 at 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Mafuta ya kupika ya Corn Gold Premium yanakupa siri halisi ya chakula kitamu. 100% ya Corn Gold Premium Cooking Oil yametengezwa kwa mahindi. Si mafuta tu ya kupika, yamejaa utele wa ladha. Yana wingi wa vitamin A na E. It's naturally low in saturated fats na ni cholesterol free. Unaweza kuyatumia kwa frying, sauteing, roasting na pia baking. Boresha mapishi yako leo kwa kutumia Corn Gold Premium Cooking Oil na yanapatikana kwenye duka lolote karibu nawe. Taste the difference. Chagua Corn Gold. Corn Gold Premium Cooking Oil. Afya yako jukumu letu.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Shukran sana Mangicho Mula pamoja na Paul Kagi. Katika siku za hivi karibuni tumeweza kuona ripoti ya kwamba kumekuwa na bidhaa ambazo zimekuwa zikipenyezwa kuingia nchini, bidhaa ambazo ni gushi, na vilevile kulingana na mjadala ambao mnajadili hapo studioni, visa hivyo vya bidhaa gushi kuweza kuwasilishwa nchini vimeweza kuongezeka, na hii hapa leo tutakuwa tukiwashirikisha Wakenya. Je, wao wameweza kutana na bidhaa gushi au wanasemaje kuhusiana na swala hilo la bidhaa gushi kuweza kupenyezwa humu nchini?
Ni vigumu kujua kifaa ambacho ni gushi ama chakula ambacho ni gushi, kwa sababu kama imekuwa packed na kampuni, ama mwenye duka ameenda pale akanunua kwa store, amekuja amepack na makaratasi yake, ni vigumu kujua kitu gushi. Labda tu baada ya watu kutumia wanaharibikiwa, inawadhuru.
Sasa unaweza toa wito gani basi kwa serikali au kwa idara husika?
Sasa hizi bidhaa gushi ambazo zinakuja kwa maduka, zingine zinatoka ng'ambo, kwa sababu sioni kama kuna kitugushi kinaweza toka kwa serikali. Haya mahindi tumepanda huku ni mahindi ambayo tunakula, lakini hivi vitu ambavyo ni vinatoka nje, vinakuja na meli, vinaweza kujaje kutoka nje viruhusiwe kuingia Kenya? Kulikuwa na tetesi ya kwamba kulikuwa na sukari ambayo ilikuwa ni gushi na ikasemekana kwamba itaharibiwa, ingine ibadilishwe iwe ethanol, lakini baada siku kadhaa tukakustukia kwamba inauzwa kwa maduka. Sasa hii mianya hii ambayo inafanya bidhaa gushi zikuja kwa Wakenya tunazitumia kwa maduka, hiyo ni inastahili izibwe. Na kama kitu ambacho ni gushi kikiingia, kijulikane ni gushi, kiharibiwe na kiharibiwe machoni pa Wakenya wote wakiona. Lakini tunasikia kwamba kuna meli ambayo iko na vitugushi, mara imepigwa bomu huko. Hatujui kama ni ukweli ama vitu vinatolewa pale vinawekwa kando kwanza. Kulikuwa na shehena ambazo zilikuwa huko Mombasa, vilikuwa na vitugushi. Lakini baada ya muda kadhaa hizo shehena hazikuwa na chochote. Hivyo vitu nani walitoa? Si Mkenya wa kawaida. Ni hao watu wakubwa ambao walienda wakatoa zile vitu na wakaziuza. Zikauzwa tu hapo dukani. Kwa hivyo tuweke taasisi zetu vizuri. Mtu awajibikie kazi yake. Kama umepewa wewe laini yako ni ya kudhibiti vitu gushi, tofautisha vitu gushi zisiuziwe wa Kenya. Zile vitu ambao ni gushi viharibiwe.
Vitu kwanza zikitoka nje sana zipitie kwa KEBS na corruption at least uko isha. Juu vitu najua wanapata wale makatels wanatoa vitu nje, wanakuja nauza vitu zile si halali ama zijapitia KEBS. Kama tulisikia kesi za sukari, imewekwa kwa store ikadisappear tu hivyo. Na ni watu wa KEBS tu wanajua hizo story. So nadhani watu wa KEBS wanafaa pull up their socks. Na corruption ishe. Waangalie sana hiyo.
Tumeona kuna sugar, kuna mafuta na mara nyingi kumekuwa na ile bandia. Wewe kama mnunuzi kama cross bidhaa ambazo hazijafikia viwango vya KEBS.
Sasa kuna hii vitu huwa inaingizwa kwa nchi ambazo huumiza wakulima kama sukari. Sukari yenyewe inakuja kama inawekwa marebo kutoka kama rebo si hapa, lakini sukari yenyewe inaletwa inadipotiwa hapa, lakini wanachukua ile makaratasi ambaye inaweza kuwa tuseme ni Mumias, tumeseme ni makampuni hapa nchini. Hiyo inaumiza wakulima ambao wako nchini. Kwa sababu gani? Sukari ni sukari, kwa sababu isipowekwa kwa rebo, kwa hivyo wakichukua zile rebo ndio inaumiza. Kwa hivyo walinde sana kama wakulima ambao wanatoa sukari nchini hii, wawe kama ni sukari hizo makaratasi kama ni rebo huwa zichunguze, sisikue ati kuna sukari ambayo inakuja alafu inawekwa kwa hizo makaratasi, kwa sababu hiyo ndio wizi huwa inatokea na ndio huwa inaumiza baka wakulima wenyewe.
Do you think serikali iko na ile ama imejizatiti kuweza kukabiliana na imejitahidi kuweza kukabiliana na bidhaa gushi humu nchini?
Tuseme serikali ambayo iko saa hii, na nikipongeza rais ambaye saa hii yuko Ruto, kwa sababu hiyo ndio kitu ya maana sana, ndio anakabiliana naye sana, kwa sababu mtu ambaye atashikwa ambaye ako na anania ya kuhujumu, yani kufanya mambo ambaye haistahili, alisema vizuri atakabiliana naye mpaka mtu achukue msalaba yake. Kwa hivyo ukishikwa ambaye mwenye atashikwa kweli abebe msalaba yake.
Sisi kwetu si ni Hustler Nation. Na tukiwa Hustler Nation, kwanza kitu ya kwanza, jambo la kwanza yani tuseme kupandishwa kwa juu ya bidhaa, hiyo tunalia sana. Lakini tunasema hii bidhaa yenye si kamilifu hii tunashuku sana.
Sasa wewe kama mnunuzi, umewahi kama cross bidhaa yote ambayo haijafikia the standard ya KEBS?
Walaghai ni wengi hapa Kenya. Kwa hivyo kuna wakati tunaenda tunapata sukari kama kitu sukari, tunakuta hii kama tunaona si kama ile ya kawaida. Tukienda kama upande wa mchele, tukienda upande wa unga, bado tunakuta zingine hazijakamilika kabisa. Lakini tuko na hofu pengine serikali itaenda itujari na iweze kupigana na hii mambo.
Unajua sana huwa tunanunua za kupimwa tayari, zimepimwa tayari na kilo. Saa ndio ujue hii kitu haina nini lebo, sana hizo huwa haiweki. Lakini yenye huwa inaweza pata ni zenye ni kutoka kwa ile ngunia yenye amepima kutoka. Sasa hiyo maybe ndio. Na sijaipatana. Ndio mimi nanunua yenye imepimwa tayari.
Yeah. Kuna wakati moja nimenunua mafuta. Sikufikiria imefika viwango vyake. Yeah.
Ulichukua hatua gani?
Niliweza kurudisha pale ninunua na wakanibadilishia. Yeah.
Unaweza ukasemaje ama kutoa wito gani kwa serikali?
Wito ni idara inayohusika kama ya KEBS ikuwe ikiangalia hizo vitu. Yeah.
Sasa wewe unafikiri kuna bidhaa nyingi ambazo hazijafikia viwango ambazo zimepenyezwa nchini?
Zipo, ni vile hazijaangaliwa, lakini zipo. Najua zipo.
Nimepatana na vitu mingi sana. Ya kwanza vitu zinazohusisha KEBS. KEBS wanafaa kushughulika na vitu zenye zinaathiri watu ndani ya mwili. Vitu kama chakula, mafuta ya kukula, lakini wanashughulika na vitu zenye hazisaidii kwa sahi. Wanashughulika na vitu za urembo, badala washughulika na vitu zenye zinakuliwa.
Mangicho pamoja na Kagi, ni maoni ya Wakenya hayo kuhusiana na swala la bidhaa gushi kuweza kuwasilishwa nchini, ambapo tumeona kuwa wengi wanasema kwamba kuna mengi ambayo yanapaswa kufanywa na serikali kwa kuwa bidhaa gushi ambazo zimeendelea kusambazwa humu nchini yameendelea kuongezeka, na hivyo wakitoa wito kwa shirika la ubora wa bidhaa humu nchini KEBS kuweza kujitahidi kuhakikisha kuwa inashughulikia swala hilo la bidhaa gushi kuweza kusafirishwa humu nchini ili kuweza kuwakinga Wakenya kutokana na bidhaa gushi, haswa ikizingatiwa yale ambayo ni chakula katika afya yao. Waweze tu kuzingatia masuala ya chakula, kuhakikisha chakula ambazo zinaingizwa humu nchini zinaingizwa kwa mujibu wa sheria. Nikiripotia kipindi cha Mid Morning Park, jina langu ni Vincent Kimutai.
Shukran sana mwenzangu Vincent Kimutai, na hiyo ni maoni ya wananchi kutoka kule mashinani kuhusiana na kuuziwa kwa bidhaa ambazo ni gushi. Nimesema kwamba bidhaa hizo wamekutana nazo, na pia mpenzi mtazamaji pia tuambie kama ushawahi kukutana na bidhaa yote ambayo ni gushi, counterfeit good, tuambie ni gani. 23814 is our SMS number, our WhatsApp 0721105105. Wakili, unaona vile wananchi wanalia huko. Watu ni kama wamekutana hizi vitu almost everywhere.
Yeah, and apparently one of the things that I've picked Kagi, and maybe Wakili can comment on that, especially when it comes to goods actually coming from sorry for that. One of the things that maybe Wakili has actually been a major challenge is when it comes to goods actually coming out from outside the country. Yes. I think this is where most of Kenyans actually have a challenge with.
Actually, you're right, because most of the counterfeit things come from outside the country. For instance, you might find a shoe with a Nike, you know, the Nike sign, and that is not an original Nike shoe. That shoe may have been imported, say, from China, and somehow it finds its way into the Kenyan market. And the challenge we have is that if you took that shoe to Kenya Bureau of Standards, we may not have a genuine Nike shoes for them to compare. And then again, the other problem is that these things come at a cheaper price than the actual original product. And because of our poverty levels, some of us may rush and buy those shoes thinking they will last, but they don't last. And I think Kenyans should be sensitized to ensure that they don't fall victims of buying those goods which they suspect are counterfeit. And again, we have what we call the Anti-Counterfeit Act, which provides for the employment of inspectors. I think like Kagi said, we should have enough inspectors who are well trained, who can be able to identify counterfeit goods and then take action and find out where are these loopholes. How do these goods get into Kenya? How do they get into the market? So if we seal those holes, I think we will reduce the issue of counterfeits.
Yeah. And maybe let's change gear from the consumer to the officers in charge.
Yes.
For example, though we may not be able to deeper on that, but the issue of the sugar in Thika and all those matters. But we know there are some officers who have been given the responsibility of ensuring that consumers are getting the value for their money. So I don't know what is the legal perspective regards to those officers, maybe from KEBS, who seems to be corrupt, and maybe they are jeopardizing that work.
That becomes a challenge when we get officers who are corrupt. And I'll give you an example. I think you've seen it, especially on alcohol. You'll get alcohol, it has what they call a revenue stamp, which is fake. Yeah? Or alternatively, you take your goods to KEBS, it does not meet the standard, but a corrupt officer passes it as if it's the correct one. That we have a challenge, and I think once those officers are identified, they should face the full force of the law. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because even you found that maybe some of the Kenyans that our reporter Vincent Gimtai was actually able to talk with, they are actually putting the blame on the Kenya Bureau of Standards, because they are wondering, this is the body that has actually been mandated to take care of them when it comes to ensuring that the goods that arrive on the consumer's table are actually of quality and standard. But you'll find that these, maybe some of these officers, maybe in one way or another, they have been compromised so that they can actually allow, or they can actually let some of these goods to actually just get themselves into the market. And I think, Wakili, this is an area that really needs to be tightened.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, na basi mpenzi mtazamaji, tunakuuliza pia utuambie kama wewe mwenyewe ushakutana na bidhaa gushi anywhere in the republic, sijui kama ni gani au ni gani. Nimekumbuka siku moja pia nilikuwa napenda kununua mkate Air Brown, na siku moja nikatumana nikaletewa kutoka dukani, na ilipoletwa nikaanza kuchukua hata sikuweka kwa sahani, inachukuliwa tu kwa karatasi.
Yes.
Nikachukua za kwanza ziko sawa, nikachukua ya pili, nadhani nilikuwa pia na njaa, nikachukua ya pili. Kwenda kufikia hapo chini kidogo, nikapata ule mkate nusu ni mweupe, nusu nyingine ni brown. Nikastuka, nikasema hebu niangalie, nikakuta hiyo ambayo iko chini sasa nikamstari tu kako brown. Kwenda kufika katikati yote ni nyeupe. Na nikasema, how many times have I eaten a counterfeit brown bread? Lakini sikuwa nimeelewa kama ninaweza complain kama vile wakili anasema. Nilikula tu na nikakaa tu. But I think even some diseases that we are experiencing today, especially for the food consumption, there are many people who are in hospitals today because of counterfeit goods. For example, milk is one of them. It's a major area where people are receiving counterfeit fluid. Maziwa imeletwa sio fresh kutoka kwa ng'ombe, imepitishiwa mahali fulani, wamemix na chemicals ndio at least maybe kuwe mingi ama isiharibike haraka. And we consume it without knowing. For example, ukipewa maziwa Mangicho uchemshe iharibike, what step do you take? Wewe unapiga tu mwenyewe, maziwa yako imeharibika. hiyo story inaishia hapo. But I think we should also be very deliberate in making a serious follow-up on this matter.
Actually, you also reminded me, another area that Wakili has also become very notorious is when we actually also talk about goods that have expired.
Yeah.
Even when you're talking about maybe a good like maybe even bread, you'll find that maybe the expiry date is there, but maybe because the shopkeeper or maybe because the seller thinks that maybe they are actually going to suffer loss, there is a way in which they tamper with that seal that shows that this particular product is expiring on this particular date. And I think they end up really affecting so many people because of that.
Yeah. So daktari, maybe hata kuna even without the goods, don't you feel we have other services we can call them counterfeit, the services themselves? Or we are only talking about goods? What about services to consumers? Do you have maybe counterfeit or substandard services that can be in this category?
I think you remind me of the case we had of Brian Menda, who was not qualified as a lawyer, but he was offering services, legal services to people.
Yes.
I think that would fall remotely into a case of counterfeit, because if you are claiming to be a lawyer and you are not, that definitely will affect the services which you are giving people. I saw another case of a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, a doctor who is not qualified, who has operated on people, and you suffer. So even the issue of services is actually covered under the provisions of Article 46 of the Constitution.
Yeah.
We are entitled to quality goods and services.
Yeah.
Even transport. Yeah. If I order something from you and you say you are going to bring it by air because of the urgency, and then you bring it by road, you know, that is not right. You are infringing on my consumer rights. Yeah. Okay. So there are so many examples of even services which as consumers we are entitled to, and which you can take legal action if you think that those services are not proper, all the way they have been provided for. Yeah.
And because we only have 1 minute before we go to the landmark ruling, maybe as we continue, Wakili, you may be able to give maybe a breakdown, a small breakdown of maybe the legal implications for those who maybe go against the consumer protection laws.
The penalties.
The penalties.
Yes.
Yes. If you look at the Anti-Counterfeit Act, it actually provides for a penalty for those who are found to be in possession of counterfeit goods. The offences are provided for under Section 32 of the Anti-Counterfeit Act. And of course, courts have the right to either fine them or jail them. But the laws are actually there. Yeah.
Also, you can be even jailed, not even fined alone.
Yes. You can be sent to prison.
Or maybe your license can be cancelled?
Normally what they do is you are either fined, jailed, and those counterfeit goods are confiscated and destroyed. Yeah.
Okay. At this juncture again, I think we'll be coming to discuss more on that. We have a landmark ruling whereby we are going to look at one case. It was not in court, it was in Parliament, whereby the Parliament itself had to discuss an issue of counterfeit goods which had been imported from outside Kenya and how they were destroyed in our area, called the landmark ruling. And this landmark ruling, dear viewer, it was in Parliament, the Parliamentary Committee on Business, and they accused the Kenya Bureau of Standards because of the counterfeit goods in a place called Athi River. And the ruling, the victims were the public, and the complainant were the Parliamentary Committee. And the request by this Parliamentary Committee was to destroy all counterfeit goods in Athi River. And the ruling by the parliamentary committee was these items must be destroyed completely, and they were worth 35 million shillings. And the committee highlighted that a lot of counterfeit goods are entering into the country. And they also ruled that the KEBS should tighten its belt on borders and airports, whereby we are receiving a lot of counterfeit goods. Maybe you can get a video of that ruling by the parliamentary committee.
Dealing with issues of illicit trade. Now it goes beyond the protection of industries and manufacturers from the business point of view, but more importantly, as you have seen there, it goes to protection of human life, health and safety of our environment, and making sure that our economy is protected. Products we have here today affect each and every one of us. It's not about any other people out there. We are part of the consumers or part of business players in the private sector who are directly affected by these products. Out of this volume of goods, we have matters at our courts that are ongoing for goods worth 806 million over the same period. So far, goods worth over 800 million have been destroyed. The total value of what will be destroyed precisely today will be about 37 million, which is due for destruction.
These people who have counterfeit products, they have no problem paying taxes. They have no problem paying taxes because, one, the things are substandard. So the cost of production is low. So we should go beyond just saying that we are collecting taxes, because the same tax is the same one that we are going to use in hospitals to treat people who have been affected by this illicit trade. All these products that we have here, hazikuteremuka kutoka biguni zikaanguka. They passed through a border point. They were cleared. In fact, these days, PS, we are happy that we are clearing goods in Mombasa in a record 1 or 2 days. It doesn't make sense in clearing goods within 1 or 2 days, yet you are clearing illicit products. We would rather even delay, even if it's for a week, knowing very, very clearly that what you are clearing is also fit for the Kenyan market.
Right, Mangicho.
There we go. Wow. And you can see it's quite a disaster. Wakili, and maybe one of the things that has actually caught my attention, Kagi, is how much these unscrupulous traders can actually get into just to get maybe their own profit without actually minding the welfare of other Kenyans.
Yeah, even you can also feel for other genuine traders, because if these guys are getting the counterfeit goods coming to our country, it is directly affecting the genuine business people and affecting, as the MP was saying, affecting the cost of production. Yes. Because if you are producing counterfeit goods, maybe your production is very low as compared to you who is following the procedure. Wakili.
Yeah.
What is your take on this?
I think this was a very good ruling by Parliament, and you can see that who was the culprit? Kenya Bureau of Standards, yes. The gatekeeper. So you can see the danger we get into when the gatekeeper is compromised. Yes. Ideally, I think the buck stops with the Kenya Bureau of Standards. If they were stricter, these goods will not get into Kenya. Like the MP was saying, these things don't fall from heaven into Kenya. They must have passed through some border points. There must have been an officer there, maybe a revenue officer, a KEBS officer, who were compromised to allow the goods to get into the market.
And I think the main challenge that we are having ni kule mipakani. Yes. Huko ndo kuna shida kubwa sana. Mipakani mahali zinakuja na meli, na vile vile maybe kwa airport. Kwa hizi vitu nyingi zimetoka kutoka nje. Sana sana simu ndo zinasumbua watu. Simu, nimeona mpaka ma mixers za muziki huko ndo kuna shida kubwa sana.
Yeah, especially when talking about these electronic goods. Yeah, and of course, you know, they know what most Kenyans would actually have preference for, because when you talk about issues to do maybe with electronic goods, you'll find that this is something, or this is an area that most Kenyans will want to actually get into. At least most Kenyans would find that they have one or two electronic goods.
Nimeona pia kuna viatu mpaka nikashindwa. Ndio maana ukivaa hizi viatu tapatapa hizi nimeweza plastic. Ukikanyaga mguu Mangicho kutoka hapa kama kilomita 10. Unaona sasa? Ukivaa viatu kama hizi ikifika 5 kilometers, viatu kimeisha unashindwa ona sasa. Unaona kwa sababu
na hizi vitu ni mingi kwa market ya Kenya.
Even sanitary towels. Can you imagine the disaster that
it's quite horrible. It's quite horrible, and it just points to. But then, actually, even as we talk about the gatekeeper now becoming compromised, so is there anything that can actually be done, maybe to fix the gatekeeper in terms of maybe tightening the laws? What is it that really needs to be done?
I think the laws are there. It's the issue of enforcement. Yeah. Let us be very strict on enforcement. And now that you talk about that, let me give you an example of the penalties for counterfeit goods. It is actually it is very, very high. Number one, if you commit the offense for the first time, you can serve imprisonment up to 5 years, and then you will be fined. You will be fined 3 times the value of the goods which you were found with. The retail value of those goods. 3 times? Yeah, 3 times. That is for if you are a first offender.
If you are a first offender.
Now, if you commit the offense the second time, then you can be imprisoned up to 15 years.
Okay.
And then you will be fined not less than 5 times the retail value of the goods, the counterfeit goods you have been found with. So you can see the penalties are very stiff. So that's why I say it's just an issue of enforcement. And again, I believe the law provides for any person who abets or assists somebody to bring in counterfeit goods. The sentences are very stiff. So it's the issue of enforcement. Let the government be strict on enforcing these laws.
Yeah. Maybe just before Kagi, maybe you come in. The other thing, Wakili, because now, as most Kenyans believe that these goods come from foreign countries, is there a way in which, therefore, even as we look at those goods actually coming into our country and we take maybe the measures from our end, what about now the foreign countries where they come from? Would the law also apply?
That is very tricky. You know, we are in a capitalist state. Most of these countries want to maximize profits. They want to find markets for their finished products, which are substandard. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that Africa is the dumping site for those substandard goods from those developed countries. Actually, you see most of the counterfeit goods we have, most probably they originated from China.
Yeah. Okay. Before I bring the inside law session this time around, Mangicho, we want to have what we call the legal terminology.
Okay, the legal terminology. And I know, Kagi, this is a term that you can actually remember, especially if you can take your memories back to 2017. You remember this term, Kagi, de minimis non curat lex. De minimis non curat lex. This is a term that we really remember when you remember Professor P.L.O. Lumumba. So when you talk about de minimis non curat lex, this is the principle that the law is not concerned with insignificant or minor matters, okay? Often shortened to de minimis, Latin phrase, which means that the law does not take account of trifling matters or matters of little or no value or importance. So that is what we mean when we talk about de minimis non curat lex, often shortened to de minimis, which means Latin phrase that the law does not take account of trifling matters or matters of little or no value or importance, okay? That is what we mean when you talk about the minimis non curat lex. Of course, this is a term, Kagi, that was so popular or was so common during the 2017 general election, and it came with Professor P.L.O. Lumumba when he was actually defending, I think, the IBC then against the petitioner Raila Odinga, and I think his NASA brigade.
And Mangicho, I think it has taken me all this, and Wakili has taken me all these years to be able to master that word. Even today, it has been very difficult for me.
So, Wakili, when you talk about it, what exactly does it mean when you say that the law does not really take care or does not really burden itself
on very trivial matters? Yes. I'll give you an example. Niko huko nyumbani Geshagi, natembea kwa barabara na mtu anaendesha gari kwa kasi na fumbi kidogo ingie kwa nguo zangu.
Yes.
Hizo ni vitu kidogo.
Yes, alafu napeleka mahakamani.
So those are trivial things which do not matter in law.
Wow.
You can't go to court and say so and so was driving at a very high speed and
akanirushia matope
ama
nataka afungwe.
Yeah. That's what we mean by trivial things do not matter in law.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That is our legal terminology for today, Kagi.
Right, thank you so very much, Mangicho, Mola, and Wakili there. And this time around, we want to check out the Inside Law today. And today we are talking about the consumer protection laws. I have a small summary of the consumer protection laws in our country. And number one, regarding to the consumer protection law, we have what we call the Consumer Complaints and Information, whereby you are supposed to complain in case your rights have been infringed regarding to the buying of item. The Competition Authority of Kenya is established to help promoting and enforcing compliance with the Act. I think that is where we are, whereby we need to see the authority which is helping to enforce people to comply with the Act, maybe the consumer or even the retailer. One of the objectives of the Act is to protect consumers from unfair and misleading market conduct. And we know there are many people who have been given unfair market products. Here you can give your complaint. If a consumer is aware of alleged consumer infringement, the consumer is at liberty to make a complaint to or inform the authority and provide required information. So here is where we are. We talked about this. If you are a consumer and your right has been infringed, yani haki zako zimekiukwa, unaweza ukaenda hapa na ukapeleka malalamishi yako mahali hapa. Now, sometimes there are false and misleading representations. The business must not make false or misleading representations about the following. If you're operating a business, you should not make any misleading representation. Kama unaendesha biashara, usipeane habari ambazo ni za uongo kuhusu, number one, the standard, quality, value, or grade of products or services huduma zako, kiwango cha bidhaa ambazo unapeana ikue iko sawa, the composition, style, model and history of the products. Yani kama ni historia ya product yako vile ambavyo umesema, mulianza kuuza hizi bidhaa 1924, hiyo historia ikuwe ni ya ukweli, ilikuwa 1924. And then you should be very genuine whether the products are very new. Again, in terms of false and misleading representation, the performance, characteristics, accessories, benefits and uses of products or services lazima zikuwe ziko sawa. Pia lazima udhibitishe na uonyeshe kwamba the price of the product or services, katika bidhaa yako onyesha bei ya kila kitu, alafu the availability of repair facilities or spare parts. Kwa mfano, kama kuna bidhaa ambazo zinahitaji kutengenezwa, kwa sababu kuna vitu ambavyo vikiharibika huwezi pata mahali pa kwenda kurekebisha. Kwa hivyo lazima uhakikisha kwamba kile ambacho unauzia watu unaweza kuambia in case of any technical challenge or mechanical challenge, kama kimeharibika unaweza ukapeleka mahali fulani. The place of origin of a product, for example, where it was made or assembled. Ni vizuri kuambia watu hii bidhaa yako ilitoka wapi, ilitengenezwa wapi. Kwa mfano gari, ukisikia gari model fulani, mnasema imetoka hii nchi, ni vizuri kuambia watu imetoka wapi. Pia the buyer needs for the product or services, kile ambacho the buyer anahitaji katika bidhaa hii ni vizuri kusema any exclusion, guarantee, warranty or condition on the product or services. Ndio maana ukienda kununua kitu ni vizuri uulize kiko na guarantee, na kama kiko nayo ni vizuri yule ambaye anakuuzia akueleze kwamba hii kitu tukupatia guarantee ama hakina, ndio ufanye uamuzi. Kuna kitu ambacho huwezi nunua bila guarantee, okay? Na nafikiri the testimonials by any person relating to product and services, hii inamaanisha kwamba kama kuna watu ambao ungetaka watoe ushuhuda kuhusiana na kile ambacho unauza, lazima watu hawa kuwe ni watu ambao ni wa ukweli na ni watu ambao wametumia hiyo bidhaa. As we continue, who can file a complaint or provide information to the authority? Nani ambaye anaweza kupeleka malalamishi? Ni watu wafuatayo. And then when to make the complaint, number one, when there is alleged infringement of the customer, unaweza peleka complaint au malalamishi wakati ambapo haki yako imekiukwa. Now, what information is required? Unapopeleka malalamishi, habari hii inahitajika. Consumer is encouraged, hapo ndio tuko sasa, to provide supporting documentation. Ukuwe na vitu ambavyo vinadhibitisha haki yako imekiukwa to the authority in accordance with the information indicated in the consumer complaint form. Kama nilivyotangulia kusema kwa KEBS, nilipata ile form ya kucomplain. Pia hapa kwa consumer complaints and information pia kuna form ambayo unaweza kutumia kuweza kupeleka malalamishi yako. Maybe mwisho, before lodging the complaint with the authority, kabla kupeleka malalamishi, the consumer may endeavor to contact and address the issues with the retailer first. Kama itawezekana, kabla kupeleka malalamishi pale kwa the body, ni muhimu kwanza uongee na ule ambaye amekuuzia. For example, imagine umeuziwa maziwa mbaya na ule ambaye amekuuzia hajakataa kukupea ingine. Ongea naye kwanza, mwambie maziwa yako si mzuri ama simu yako ni mbaya, akurudishie ingine kama atakubali before even you complain. Kwa hivyo mwanzo kabisa ufanye hivyo. The consumer is encouraged to keep record of all the communication with the seller such as receipts. Lazima uweke mawasiliano yako yote na muuzaji. Receipt unaweka vizuri, invoices kama ziko, warranty kama iko, kuna warranty, contract kama kulikuwa na contract unapotumia vitu hizo, business representative ambao mlikuwa pamoja na wao, and any other. Kwa hivyo hizi vitu ndio zitakusaidia kuweza kesi yako kuweza kushughulikiwa kwa njia ambayo ni nzuri. Natumai sasa umepata habari ya kutosha kuhusu jinsi ambavyo unaweza kutetea haki yako kama mnunuzi. Mangicho.
Yes, absolutely. That is very fantastic, Kagi, and I think that is something that actually our viewer and actually most Kenyans actually need to know, and it basically points to the fact that Wakili, the person watching us, or even basically the Kenyan, needs actually to do. They have quite a lot of responsibility in terms of actually ensuring that what is it that they take home is actually of great quality, of enough and sufficient standard. Yes.
Yeah, I think as Paul Kagi has stated, as a consumer, we have responsibilities of ensuring that we identify the quality of the goods and services which we are receiving. And then he has taken us through the procedure of complaining. And I liked where you mentioned that, number one, try to resolve the issue amicably. You know, even the Bible says that before you escalate the matter, try to talk to your accuser, your accuser, and see if you can resolve it. So if the issue can be resolved amicably, there is no need of escalating it. And again, those forms are actually available on the internet. If you go to the internet, there is a site where you can download the form, fill in your complaint, and as you mentioned, it's important that you keep all communication, the receipt to show where you bought this item from, the amount of money you paid, and all that as evidence that you actually purchased these goods from a particular place.
And also, like Kagi also loved there is a place whereby you also mentioned about having referrals. It's very, very important for you. Before even you go and buy something, you need to find out maybe from other people who have also bought particular or similar items, so that they can also even help you, or they can also encourage you, or they can also give you maybe their side of the story, whether that kind of an item as they were able maybe to sustained or something like that. I think that's very important.
Nafikiri pia inatusaidia kwa sababu kuna wale wanabiashara ambao tunasema ni rogue business people who are determined, come rain, come sun, I'm going to use counterfeit goods. They are there. And therefore, it's good to be prepared for, in case of these rogue business people ambao wameamua, lazima watauza bidhaa gushi, mpende msipende. And the issue of protecting yourself, Mangicho, kujiandaa. Kwa hivyo ni kumaanisha unapokwenda kununua vitu, hakikisha umepata vitu vinavyohitajika.
Okay.
Kwanza receipt ni muhimu. Kama mimi wakati ambapo nilikwenda pale, kama singekuwa na receipt singesaidika. Unaona sasa? Kwa hivyo nimepeana receipt peke yake na kile ambacho niliuziwa na nikasaidika. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu wewe kama mnunuzi tuhakikisha kwamba una vile vitu ambavyo vinahitajika. Na pia ni vizuri kuna vitu ambavyo lazima zikuwe na warranty. Si ndio? Kwamba unaweza tumia kutoka muda huu mpaka muda huu, kama kuna shida yoyote tuko tayari kufanya nini kuweza kukusaidia. Ushaona sasa. Na kuna sehemu moja ambao na imenifurahisha pia ya kwamba kuna watu ambao wanaitwa testimonials, watoaji ushuhuda. Pia nao ni muhimu sana. Usichukue watu ambao una stage manage.
Yeah, it should be very real. This should come out very natural. Actually, when I look at this, if the consumers themselves were in a position to actually, because it's also very, very important for you to go. Of course, we also there's a difference between affordability and cheap. Don't go for something that is cheap, because most people would want to find out, let me go, this one is very cheap, let me take it. But you'll find that in most cases, maybe the cheap products are the ones that are coming with a lot of challenges into the market.
And I think one thing you forgot to mention about, which is very prevalent, is about misleading advertisement. Like Safaricom might tell you, over the weekend we are going to give free calls.
Yes.
But they fail to inform you that they are only Safaricom, not free to other networks. You know, that is misleading advertisement, or what we call bait advertising. You know, they'll tell you, okay, if you buy one, get one free. Sometimes you will find that these consumers have realized their goods are almost expiring. Yeah, it has an expiry of 2-3 days. That is why they are offering you buy one, get one free. If you look at it, you take it home after 2 days, you discover that it is actually expired. So consumers also need to be very careful with advertisements.
Yeah,
because most of them can have a problem. Yeah.
Away from the maybe what I call the formal products, zile ambazo ni kubwa kubwa, pia nafikiri kuna hizi products zingine ndogo ndogo. Kwa mfano zile ambazo watu wengi wanatumia ni kama matunda kule mashinani, hauhitaji risiti, hauhitaji nini, unauziwa vitu ambavyo labda for example vitu ambavyo vimepigwa dawa sana, vinaharibikia watu, umeuziwa matunda ambayo imeharibika zaidi, imejaa wadudu ndani. Hizo vitu ziko sana katika mashinani. Sijui kama kuna njia tunaweza pia kushughulikia watu. Hiyo wako chini sana.
Hapana, sio wako chini. Ni ngumu kiasi. Umeona ukienda supermarket ununue machungwa imekuwa imported, iko na sticker hapo Hizo stika sina maana. Kuna ile inaonyesha hii ni organic, hii haijapewa dawa, hii imepewa dawa fulani. Lakini sasa ukienda huko Geshagi utajuaje hii nyanya imepewa dawa gani? So hapo kuna changamoto kubwa sana.
Na unakuta kuna wakulima wengi ambao tukiambiwa hii dawa imepigwa marufuku kutumia, ndio wenyewe wanaendea kichini chini wapi? Dukani Agrovet na kuitumia kufanya nini? Na as you are saying, we will not be able to know, but I think it's also an infringement of a customer right, Mangicho.
Yeah, it is, but then enforcement becomes a problem. How are you going to enforce those laws? Na mtu wako na kashamba kake kadogo, jioni ametoa nyanya 10-20, ameenda kuuza huko, zimepewa ile dawa mbaya.
Hatuwezi.
Hiyo ni changamoto kubwa sana.
Mangicho, kabla ukuje, pia tuingilie mambo ya hoteli where people are consuming, should I say counterfeit food? I don't know. It's very common. Kama umeingia katika hoteli, umerarua vitu zako hapo, nyamchomo yako vizuri tena hapo, unabaki na toothpick. Lakini ukitokea hapo, the rest is history.
You drive all the way home.
No, I think like I mentioned earlier, that is more of a health challenge. If you have a problem like that, I ate bad food, the place to complain is to the health department, so that they check the hygiene of the place where that food was prepared. Yeah.
Okay, Manucho, I think we are having a challenge with the profile, so we can continue winding up the program.
Okay. Yeah, because the other thing that Wakili, and I know most people would actually want to. Maybe even when you talk about, I know we had talked about the right of information in the first instance. So in a scenario whereby maybe one is not in a position maybe to get sufficient information, maybe from the product itself, would it therefore maybe require them maybe to seek those kind of services from the Kenya Bureau of Standards and maybe in their offices regarding maybe a particular product or regarding a particular service? And is a person also offering that particular product? Are they supposed? Okay, is it upon them to actually also release the information regarding to the product?
Under Article 35 of the Constitution, every Kenyan is entitled as a right to information.
Yes.
For instance, if I want to know information about, say, close-up, I can write to the manufacturer and request that I want to know how you make this close-up. What are the ingredients? And that they are under duty to provide that information to you.
The company?
Yes, the company. It's under duty to provide the information. And then you can use it in whichever way you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the company has, it is upon the company
yes.
To actually release that kind of information.
Yeah. And of course, there is some information which is privileged. Not every right to information, I mean, the right to information is not absolute. So unless the information you're seeking is privileged, then the company has a right to give you that information.
Yeah. And maybe for the homemade goods, do they have the authority and even the legal requirement to provide the history of what they are doing?
That is very tricky. You know, if you go to Mama Mboga ametengeneza chapati, you may not know imetengenezwa kutoka wapi. Here we are talking about actually goods which are offered for sale in supermarkets, in shops, as opposed to homemade foods.
Yeah, I think maybe as we continue, Mangicho, we have been having an issue with many people having what we call maybe local industries which are illegal. They are producing goods and services which are not known by the government, but when they come out, they are real goods. I think also we have a challenge with that in our homes. I think you have even seen the papers in the media whereby many people have been arrested because they have turned their homes to be industries. Maybe producing goods which are not verified. Yeah, I once lived a place where somebody was my neighbor. I didn't know many years back. I was shocked to learn that he was manufacturing some cigars. Yeah, real. I was really shocked. I could not imagine.
Yeah, and you know, it's quite an interesting scenario, because we also at a time when maybe the government and maybe even the country is also promoting maybe the coming up of the local industry, okay, so that they can also provide jobs to the majority of Kenyans. I've also remembered that I think yesterday, I think the president was somewhere, I don't know whether it is at the river, whereby we are looking forward now to this particular country also now beginning to manufacture phones. I think there are those modalities.
And also I think, Wakili, as you give us an insight on what you are saying, there has been also a problem with many people because the water business is very welcoming. People are refilling well water or tap water and selling them as distilled waters. A lot of them. And many have been found themselves in the wrong side of the law.
Let me comment on industries, these local industries. We have actually laws which provide on how, if you want to set up an industry, what are the requirements, licensing, all the way up to sell. I mean, testing your products with KEBS, getting a certificate that your product is of a specific standard before you actually start producing it. So it's an offense for a person to start producing goods without going through this process, without taking that product to KEBS so that you get a certificate. KEBS, so that KEBS can tell you, okay, your product contains 1, 2, 3, 4, it is fit to be released to the market. Same thing with water. Again, normally before you start selling that water, you should take it to KEBS. They analyze it before you start selling it. But you see, the challenge comes in. KEBS is not there to monitor you every other day where you are going to get this water which you are bottling, to ensure that it's the same quality with that sample which you took to them. So that, again, becomes a challenge. And again here, it is the issue of enforcement. KEBS officers should be coming and picking that water randomly, go and test it. If it is not the same quality as the one they approved, then you should be prosecuted.
And I think, Mangisho, I'm really suspicious. The reason why many guys, they don't want to go through the KEBS way is because when you go through the KEBS way, it's an avenue to KRA. And therefore, when you think about the KRA, then you feel the best way for me to do is to go through the shortcut. I feel so. Because of the fear of taxation.
Yeah, it's true,
Isn't it?
Like I'm told right now, because we have these KRA field officers, they have been going around finding out some of these businesses, just ensuring that there is the proper procedure of actually remitting their taxes. And most people had actually embraced these till numbers. But as a result of this, I'm told when you go to most of these shops now, they've removed.
So the issue of, I think, taxation also is really a huge problem. It's illegal to evade tax. Ama namna gani?
Yeah, it is.
So nafikiri watu wenyewe wanaogopa kwa sababu the moment umejianika kwa KEBS kuangalia hizo vitu zote, other documentations regarding to the kulipa tax, vitu zote lazima utajaza. Sasa ukiangalia vile utafuatwa na KRA, unaona wacha nijaribu hii ya chini ya maji, not knowing that maybe you are unatarisha maisha ya watu. There was one time, not in Kenya, a company inatengeneza maziwa huko China. Nakumbuka nikifanya hiyo taarifa. Wanatengeneza maziwa kule, nadhani kwa sababu ya shughuli, watoto wengi hawapati enough time ya kukua na wazazi. Wanatengenezewa maziwa ile ya industry. Na one company ilikuwa inauza maziwa ya hawa watoto wadogo wachanga kabisa, miezi 3 4 hapo. Then waliuza maziwa, maybe ilikuwa na some standard challenge. Nakwambia many children died. Alafu this company, it was penalized. Tukomea hapo daktari. Maybe you are 30 seconds advice to our consumers.
Nafikiria the advice I can give our consumers is that we ensure that we look at the quality of the goods which we are buying, which we are intending to consume, and then if you suspect that the good is of low quality, we've taken you through the complaint procedure. You can go to KEBS, you can raise a complaint with the Competition Authority, and they will take action, and you'll get a relief if you've been a victim of goods, of substandard goods or counterfeit goods.
Asante sana. Thank you, Daktari, for coming to our studio. Until next Tuesday for Legal Tuesday, mimi naitwa Paul Kagi na kutakia siku njema.
And my name is Mangicho Mwala. See you tomorrow on Leadership Wednesday.